ओम नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्म विद्याचार्याय नचिकेतसे च. Let us read. परांचिख्यानि व्यतृणत् स्वयंभू तस्मात् परां पश्यति नान्तरात्मन् कश्चिद्धीरः प्रत्यग् आत्मनम् ऐक्षत आवृत्त चक्षुर अमृतत्वम् इच्छन्. परांचिखानि व्यतृणत् स्वयंभुः तस्मात् परां पश्यति नान्तरात्मन् कश्चिद्धीरः प्रत्यग् आत्मनम् ऐक्षत आवृत्त चक्षुर अमृतत्वम् इच्छन्. So, as we have been discussing that to have Atma Jnana, the Ajnanam, the ignorance was the first obstacle. And in the first chapter, how to eradicate, how to remove, how to negate Ajnanam was being discussed elaborately. While discussing about Ajnanam, in the previous chapter, verse number 12, एष सर्वेषु भूतेषु गुणात्मा न प्रकाशते. Even though the Atma that is in every living being, still it is not visible, not evident. Why? For that one needs agreya buddhya, sukshma buddhi. Now this chapter, because this is the most important aspect, in fact Adi Shankaracharya introduces this particular chapter very carefully. He starts with Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhatma na prakasate drishyate tu agraya buddhya iti uktam. That means already the Upanishad has said, already discussed in the previous chapter, iti uktam. So what did it discuss? That even though Atma is present in the heart of everyone, yet it is hidden away in everyone, and it cannot be recognized nor prakasate, and only it can be prakash, that prakasam can happen, it can be recognized with the help of what? Those who have subtle intellect. Only those people who can recognize those who have subtle intellect. Now, when we look at this, that means the obstacle is here that if the person does not have subtle intellect. So that means now we have to work on how to develop subtle intellect. This is the most important aspect now comes here. So then what happens? We need to see this Valli, this section is being discussed in keeping with that in mind. Now beautifully says, Vigyat is a very good logic he gives. Vigyat hi sreyaha pratibandha karane tad apananaya yatnam arabdhum shakyate. If you look at, only when the obstacle which is the cause of preventing the recognition of Atma is known, Vigyate sati, only when it is known, then what happens? It is possible start to put effort to remove or solve it. If we do not know what is the obstacle, then how can we put effort? So that's why it makes it very clear to make one understand that obstacle which cause the preventing of this recognition of Atma is what? This gross buddhi. So now whole effort is how to eradicate, how to take care of this gross buddhi. So now let us read with this. That is what Paranchi khani betrunat swayambhu tasmat param pashyati na antaratman kaschit dhirah pratyek atmanam aikshat abruta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan iti. So we need to really split. We need to try to see Anvaya. Slowly we have to get into. Anvaya means making it in prose format. So where you have to find out where is verb, so what is a noun, what is adjective, and what are the things. So then it becomes easier for you to understand the verse, or else it is a mixing. So if you look at Paranchi khani betrunat swayambhu. So you can take swayambhu. Generally what we do, in the pencil we write it, okay? Swayambhu means one. So it becomes easier for you to understand, okay? That is how we start picking up, how to pick up. Swayambhu Paranchi khani betrunat. So if you have, you are smart, straight away, Swayambhu 1, khani 2, Paranchi 2, khani 3, betrunat 4. So like that if you try to do it, then you understand how to split slowly, how to look at this Anvaya part. However, it's up to you. So the verse says Paranchi khani betrunat swayambhu, but in the prose format we put swayambhu Paranchi khani betrunat. Then tasmat jivaha manushya, both way you can take it. Manushya jivaha is better word. Tasmat jivaha param pashyati na antaratman pashyati amrutatvam icchan abruta chakshuhu amrutatvam icchan abruta chakshuhu san kaschit dhiraha pratyek atmanam aikshat. Amrutatvam icchan abruta chakshuhu san kaschit dhiraha pratyek atmanam aikshat. Most of you are looking at me, only 1 or 2 people are looking at the text. Okay, that's very sad. Okay. However, see, this is called understanding. How? Says beautifully, Swayambhu Paranchi khani betrunat. So when it says Swayambhu, general translation is Lord. So Lord betrunat, destroyed. And what did he destroy? Khani, indriyani, sense organs. And what are they? Paranchi. How? Paranchi. So Paranchi means by making them extrovert. The opening statement of this chapter is Swayambhu, the Lord himself, destroyed the sense organs by making them extrovert. We'll see in details, don't worry. Tasmat means therefore, jivaha or manushya, everyone or all the jivas or human beings, what do they do? Param pashyati. So they perceive outside. No antaratman, not the atma, the self within. And of course he says here, icchan, desiring. What is that desiring? Amrutatvam, immortality. And who is that person? Kaschit dhiraha, someone. And who is that person? Dhiraha, a discriminative one. Someone who is a discriminative. A rare discriminative one. Abruta chakshuhu. So Abruta Chakshu means literally closing the eyes with withdrawn eyes. Aikshata sees Pratyak Atmanam, the Atma within. Now here point, lot of confusion comes. First of all, this is Swayambhu Lord. Who is that Lord? Because we have to break our head, okay? It's not just in English translation Swayambhu, the Lord over. But we have to look at what is that Swayambhu. Is it talking about Hiranyagarbha also, Lord? Or is it talking about Ishwaraha? We need to understand. Please, I cannot give you translation of every time Hiranyagarbha Ishwara, okay? I assume you know it, all these things. If you do not know, break your head. So you have to see whether it is Hiranyagarbha or Ishwara as Lord, because Lord has got a many meaning. This is what in religious approach becomes very confusing. The difference between this Vedantic approach and religious approach is entirely different. Because religion, okay, God means God, over, okay? Whereas when it talks about here, it has got a lot of things we need to look at. However, coming back here, that when it talks about, if you look at Hiranyagarbha, actually Hiranyagarbha was born not based on karma phala. I hope I am just refreshing your memory. Hiranyagarbha is not born out of karma phala, because if we look at ourselves, that's why this incarnation, this religious incarnation, we don't accept. Any religion incarnation, like I don't want to get into any religious god, we don't accept, like whether it is Buddha or Jesus, all these people, we cannot accept them as God. Because why we cannot accept them as God or incarnation? Because they are born out of their karma. And when they are born, they didn't come for a purpose. In fact, they create a nuisance. If you look at Buddha, what for he came? Was there any purpose for him to come? Jesus to come, was there any purpose? Okay, thank God he said that I am not, Father is there, that's another, so he escaped somehow. So if you look at any religious people, those who propagate, what is the purpose of a new incarnation? So that means it's clear that that person was born out of karma. So if a person is born out of karma, we cannot call as God either. So the God has to be born out of sankalpa. Remember, this is most important aspect. The God has to be born out of sankalpa. So that's why when there is a big calamity or a big situation, a lot of chaos takes place. So everybody prays from the total karma, from the total prayer. That's why the entity that is born, that is called incarnation. Whether it is Rama, whether it is Krishna, prior to Rama was born, prior to Krishna was born, there was a chaos. In fact, everybody started praying, oh God, please come down and help and protect. Things are becoming messier. So out of this total karma, samashti prayer, so what we call as a sankalpa makes one particular entity to be born. So coming here, Hiranyagarbha is not born out of any karma. Hiranyagarbha is born out of sankalpa. So kamayata bahusham praja eti satapostapyata. This is how it happens, the creation. So kamayata. So he thought of. So that he thought of. So that is what the sankalpa made this Hiranyagarbha to come. But here when it says Swayambhu, it is not only Hiranyagarbha, it talks about that Ishwaraha. Because Hiranyagarbha has God. Means Hiranyagarbha is created. So being created, Ishwara is there. So but here is Swayambhu means strictly talks about Ishwaraha. So it says here, because you need to understand these are the technical terms in between so that you can understand. or else things will be different. That's why in India we have many Swayambhus. Swayambhu, other meaning is called self-made, okay? So all these self-made Swami, self-made Guru, self-made, so we call them Swayambhu, okay? And dangerous, okay? Neither they are born with, I'm not telling you jokes, this is the problem with all the Swayambhus. Any religion, that's why the religious propaganda becomes other way around, because they are born out of their karma, but they claim that they are born out of sankalpa. You understand the confusion, what happens? Really they are born out of their real pure confusion, karma, no doubt in it. But they claim that they are born out of sankalpa. So that's why all these Swayambhus, self-made fellows, are really dangerous. However, coming back here, so here we need to see Paranchi Khani Betrulat Swayambhu. So this Atma, this Swayambhu, the God, has created Khani, the Indriyani, sense organs, which stands for. Here also we need to look at very carefully. As we discussed this Atma, two meanings. Also this Indriyani Khani has got two meanings. One is direct meaning is called Golaka. Golaka means literally you can translate as holes, okay? Like eyes, nose, ears, okay? Mouth. So they are also direct meaning of sense organs. But we do not talk about that. We talk Indriyas. Behind that, whatever is there. Not just mere Golaka, mere the external part, but it is, we are talking about internal. So he says beautifully that here Khani, Indriyani have been designed in such a way, have been created in such a, they are supposed to be extrovert. And because they are extrovert, then what happens? Automatically, now the mind always becomes extrovert. And which is natural, which is spontaneous. That's not your problem, that's not your fault. You have to be very careful. Good, at least, you know, Upanishad says with great concern, hey, don't worry, if you are extrovert, that means God has created. Relax. Don't worry, God is not going to punish you, or God is not going to send you to the hell, okay? Why you are extrovert? Hey, you yourself have made me extrovert and you are asking me to send you to punish you? No, you cannot. Can you see how carefully God talks? Say then, the interesting thing is, because of this reason, therefore, each one, especially the Jiva, is being engrossed or engaged in external world. That is how very natural, convenient for the Jiva. Because after all the sense organs have been made as extrovert. But interestingly, Kaschit Dhiraha. It is like, you know, everybody goes along with the flow of the current. But there is someone who wants to go against the current. As we have discussed, the river flows from upward to downward. But wherever the river tries to take a turn and tries to go again to the source, towards upward, tries. So wherever the river tries to go to upward to the source, there a whirlpool is being made. There a turning, a bend takes place in the river, and that is called a holy place. So trying to take a turn towards upward. So also, now the sense organs have been created to see, to experience external world. That means me to become extrovert is very natural. Like a river keeps flowing from upward to downward. But Also there is a possibility one can turn around. So here he says, Kaschit Dhiraha is a very rare discriminative person. So what he does? He says beautifully, first of all, he is Icchan. So there is a desire. Because when a person becomes extrovert, there is no desire. Remember, it's a very beautiful way of looking at it. When you are extrovert, the desire is secondary. Because eyes goes, in keeping with the eyes and sense objects, now some impression is being created, then you start owning up and a desire is being built. That's why your involvement in the beginning is not there. That's why first day when you had chocolate, remember, do you know this? I am sure you must not have remembered. The first day when you tried chocolate, because that is how I love to watch the children, okay? This is how I love to spoil them. The first day give the chocolate. Yo, what an expression. You cannot think of some bitter, funny taste, burnt taste. They don't like it. But once they start relating with that, can you see this point? Relating, then wow. So also if you observe, when mind is extrovert, when the sense organs are going towards sense object world, now you don't desire. It is a natural and a spontaneous process. Now here he says that Icchan. So there is something desiring. What is that? Desiring Amrutatvam. So Amrutatvam means here the immortality. So desiring immortality, and who is that person? Kaschit Dhiraha, a rare discriminative person. So what he does? Now what he does? Abruta Chakshu. First thing is he withdraws all his sense organs. Chakshu stands for eyes. It stands for all other sense organs also. So what he does? He first learns to withdraw all sense organs by closing it, by withdrawing it from their respective sense object world. So once that happens, now what happens? Only that person, Aikshata means sees, perceives, understands. What that person understands? Pratyak Atmanam. The Atma that is within. Pratyak cha aso Atma. Pratyak Atma. The Atma that is within. Now when we look at this, we have a lot of points if we want to discuss very carefully and elaborately. Because as we discussed this Atma in the previous class, yesterday in fact we discussed, and that is what is being also here discussed, so I don't think that we will get into. But however, if you look at Yachapnoti yada tatte yadati vishayan iha yachasya santatah bhava tasmat atmeti kirtyate. In Linga Purana it has been highlighted. So if you look at this, etymological, the Vyutpati Artha, how we derive each word. So from this etymological standpoint, or if we start deriving, so Atma means what? It is, first thing is all pervading. Yacha apnoti. Number one, all pervading. Yat adatte, that which resolves everything into one's own self during pralaya. Then third one is yacha atti, that which experiences as jivatma in this janma during when you are alive. And finally yacha santatah bhavah, that which has got permanent or continuous existence, and that is said to be as Atma, the inner self. Because beautifully we need to understand that when we talk about Atma, we really need to recognize that the person has to see the Atma in one's own self. That's why all these things being talked, because there is a confusion here. It can lead to the confusion. There is no confusion actually. It can lead to a confusion. When it is said that to see one's own self, one has to, you can translate in this way, one has to close his eyes. Avruta chakshuhu. So that means what? This is what I have been telling you. That's why you don't need Shastra. You don't need anything. Just close your eyes and ask, who am I? You understand? Tiruvannamalai philosophy, okay? So, you can ask, who am I? In fact, you can see that. So we have been highlighting now. Look at this. Scripture also talks the same thing. That you need to close your eyes. You need to do meditation. Only meditation eva. Okay, I am using the word. Dhyana eva. Avruta chakshu eva. Only by the meditation you can understand the Pratyagatma, not by any other means. Hey, please. Whole teaching is gone, waste. You understand? That's why Adi Shankaracharya took so much pain, and of course other things, which highlights very carefully that the Atma you have to understand as a Pratyak Atma, not that is hidden inside your body somewhere in the cavity. You understand? So you have to remove. It's not like that. Here you have to understand one step ahead. Namarupa Prapancha. It is hidden with the Namarupa Prapancha. With the name and form, it is being hidden. Means there is some type of confusion. That confusion to be settled down when your mind is available for yourself. Then only the teaching, then only the Vedanta, then only the Sravana will start working. Without understanding this, if you say, yes, look, after all, scripture also told the same thing, that you have to do meditation, only meditation you will understand. So now what are you talking? That's why to avoid all this conflict, Adi Shankaracharya goes on and on to explain different meaning of Atma, quotes from Linga Purana. You understand the concept? To make sure that, hey, don't get confused with Atma, okay? Don't try to look somewhere inside, somewhere is being hidden. You have to understand that Atma which exists everywhere, in every form. Okay, with this, we'll try to see the next verse. Let us read. Paracha kamananu yanti balaha te mrutyo yanti vitatasya pasham atha dhira amrutatvam viditva dhruvam adrupeshu hyana parthayante. Paracha kamanunu yanti balaha te mrutyo yanti vitatasya pasham atha dhira amrutatvam viditva dhruvam adrupeshu hyana parthayante. Again, because these are the small things you need to really look into. How, again, we need to see especially how this Anvaya is being done, because without looking at the Anvaya part, if you try to look at the verse, little bit becomes difficult. We can look at Paracha kamanu yanti balaha Parachaha. I am doing Anvaya, okay, prose format. Balaha Parachaha kaman anuvanti te bitatasya. In fact, in the text that I have sent it, it is there. Te bitatasya मृत्योः पासं यान्ति अथ धीराः अध्रुवेषु ध्रुवम् अमृतत्वं विदित्वा इह किंचित न पार्थयन्ते. So if we look at translation, balaha, balaha means a child, but here is indiscriminative one. We'll see in details. Anuyanti, go after, go behind, and what? Kaman, and what is that kaman? Paracha, paracha kaman, pleasure that is external, external pleasure. That means balaha, the discriminative one, children go after external pleasures, and because of that reason what happens? Te yanti pasam mrityoho. Because of that reason they enter the net of death. So they are caught in the net of death. Then what happens? Says bitatasya viditva. Bitatasya viditva means that which is all pervading. Viditva, having known that. And what is that? Dhrubam amrutatvam. So Dhrubam Amrutatvam means immortality. Dhrubam also absolute. Means actually Dhrubam becomes adjective to Amrutatvam. Why? And we'll see, discuss this point also. It's not necessary two things to put, but he has, Shruti has put very carefully. Dhrubam Amrutatvam. Absolute immortality. That is immortality. What is that? Immortality is immortality. What is the absolute immortality? Means, don't you think that is extra word? So, but we'll see this. Dhiraha, the discriminative one, atha, here, what does? No, sorry, atha, however, no parthayante, does not seek here anything. Adhruvesu means in impermanent things. Now, when we look at this, very carefully we can observe this point. First of all, we have to see who are called Balaha. So here it says Alpa Prajnaha. They are called Balaha. So those who do not have much thinking, inadequate thinking, Alpa Prajnaha. Because the child thinks that knows everything, but in reality child does not know anything. Can you see this point? And whatever child knows is very sure. Yes, it is. I know it. In fact, we'll argue, we'll do everything. But in reality child does not know. So that's why here he uses the word. They are called Balaha, Alpa Prajnaha. They have some knowledge but very limited. But holding on to limited knowledge, they think that they know everything and they exercise, they highlight, they do everything. You understand the point? And because of that reason, he says beautifully, Balaha Anuyanti. They go after. Because they are very clear, they are very sure. Remember, Anuyanti. You cannot convince them. You cannot talk to them. A child is impossible to convince. Only there are two methods. You have to pull the child out or hit. There is no third method. I am sorry to say. It doesn't work. You have to pull that fellow out or hit. If you try to peel or try to explain, child will not understand. In fact, it will make you more crazy. So it's not worth spending time with the child to explain that moment when the child is very clear that he knows what he wants. Never waste your time. Never really waste your energy with the child that moment. However, Balaha Anuyanti go after. And what they do is they go after external pleasure. Because this mind always needs something to hold on to, tangible thing. And for the mind, external pleasure is something to hold on to. If there is no external pleasure, mind goes crazy. That's why this COVID-19 has made everybody crazy. Because everybody into mind, so that's why what happens, everybody is somewhere or other crazy because they do not know what to do. Hey, enjoy. You will not come across this thing in your whole lifetime, okay? Once in lifetime you have come across, enjoy, okay? And what the problem is here, because they are after external pleasure, they enter, you can say they invite the problem in their life. And what sort of problem? They get onto the net of death, pasa, mrityu pasa. So then, how you can see this point very nicely, how it happens. If you look at, because of this alpa pragya, they avidya, kama and karma, they get into trapped what? First avidya, ignorance. Because of avidya, kama, the desire. Now, then because of that reason, karma, action. Again, karma brings papa punya rupi karma phalam. Then once this papa punya rupi karma phalam comes, then again you are caught in that net. Again avidya. You understand what I am trying to say? Where you started, again you are caught in that circle. So that we say avidya, kama, karma, chakra. And that being caught in this avidya, kama, karma, chakra, that is the pasham. There you get caught. That is called mrityu pasha. So that is the net of death. Even though you want to come out, it's not that easy to come out. And this is beautifully, and this pasham is one lakshana he gives. Deha indriyadi sayoga viyoga lakshanamiti. So such a beautiful point, because then only you can cherish the Sanskrit here. So this mrityu pasam, Adi Shankaracharya explains as dehendriya sayoga viyoga lakshanam iti. How? If you observe, when the jiva dies, cannot dissociate from karana sariram nor sukshma sariram. Because karana sariram sukshma sariram continues. But there is association and dissociation with reference to gross body and sense organs. So that mrityu pasam is nothing. The pasam means the net of the death is nothing. But here he says, Deha Indriya Sayoga Viyaga Lakshanam, characterized by dissociation and association with the body and sense organs. So that's why the death is nothing but dissociating, associating with your body and sense organs. But not mind, remember, mind is entirely different altogether. So that's why he says, then what happens? Vidatasyaha, now knowing that which is all pervading, once having discovered, having known this, Dhrubam Amrutatvam, this is the most important aspect. So why this says absolute immortality? Because immortality has got two. One is relative immortality, other one is absolute immortality. So Shruti is very clear, wants to highlight about absolute immortality, not relative immortality. What is relative immortality? To become a god is relative immortality. So once you become a god, you enjoy immortality. Because we are still in Kathopanishad, okay? We have not changed any Upanishad yet, okay? Remember this. So, that means God also immortal, but that immortality is relatively. That's why that status of God also goes away after some time. So here it makes it very clear. Dhrubam Amrutatvam, the absolute immortality, not relative immortality. Then definitely what happens? Dhiraha this discriminative one, what does it do? He never seek anything here, because he knows if I try to seek anything in impermanent, definitely that will lead to me what? All these things to impermanent, not permanent one. But I am interested in what? Permanent thing. So when I am interested in permanent thing, why should I break my head to look for something or search in impermanent things? And who is that person? That person is a dhira, a discriminative one. More of it we'll see tomorrow.